This naturalrefrigerants.com article is being read by an automated voice. Hillphoenix's charge preservation system becoming standard part of its CO2 racks. By Michael Gary. Published June 9, 2025. U.S. OEM Hillphoenix, a division of Dover Food Retail, reports that 85% of its new transcritical CO2 racks are being sold with Charge Secure, a charge preservation system that began shipping last November. Designed specifically for Hillphoenix's transcritical CO2 systems, Charge Secure minimizes downtime during power outages and service events by maintaining the CO2 charge, enabling the system to restart immediately. So far, we have orders of Charge Secure in the hundreds, with a mix of both new installs and retrofits, said Senthilkumar Shanmugam, Senior Product Manager, Dover Food Retail. As interest in transcritical CO2 systems continues to grow in North America, Hillphoenix has become the leading provider of these systems. The OEM has sold approximately 2,000 transcritical CO2 systems, mostly to supermarkets and to some industrial facilities. These installations are being targeted for retrofits with Charge Secure, said Usama Sabra, Systems Senior Product Manager, Dover Food Retail. That's our next phase, focusing on the existing racks. Already orders of Charge Secure over the next year for existing CO2 installations are very encouraging, more than double what has been sold so far, said Sabra. Charge Secure is suitable for any of Hillphoenix's CO2 rack systems, which include 3 AdvancerFlex models, Flex Mini, Flex, Flex Max, for stores and the larger industrial platform. Most of the Charge Secure systems are in stores, though about 5 industrial facilities have them. In almost all installations, one Charge Secure unit is sufficient. For a very large industrial rack, more than 1 unit could be necessary. Charge Secure addresses a major concern about CO2 systems, that they are vulnerable to losing refrigerant charge in prolonged power outages, which cause a pressure buildup of CO2 and a discharge of the gas. Charge Secure effectively prevents pressures from exceeding discharge thresholds so that a system can resume functioning when power is restored. Customers definitely see the added value of having their rack up and running immediately after the power outage versus waiting for a shipment of new CO2 gas, said Sabra. So it's a time saver, and it's also a cost saver. About 1 month after a recent Charge Secure retrofit at a store in Columbus, Ohio, there was a power outage that left the store without power for more than 9 hours. The Charge Secure did its job and protected the charge, said Shanmugam. They were able to start the rack immediately after. Increasing the pressure rating. Charge Secure is not the only method for preserving CO2. Charge in a power outage. Another way is to increase the pressure rating for system piping so that it can withstand the rise in pressure that occurs when the system loses power. High-side rack pressure ratings are already at a high pressure, 120 or 130 bar, 1,740 or 1,885 pounds per square inch. But the industry standard for in-store piping, such as liquid supply lines, is currently 45 bar, 653 psi, with medium temperature suction piping also at 45 bar, and low temperature suction piping at 30 bar, 435 psi. Concerns about CO2 charge preservation have led some U.S. foods retailers to ask if the pressure rating of piping in transcritical systems should be raised significantly up to 90 bar 1,305 psi throughout the system. Including the suction piping, the majority of European OEMs use 60 bar, 870 psi in liquid lines, while 20% employ 80 bar, 1,160 psi. In suction lines, the majority have 52 bar, 754 psi for medium temperature and 30 bar for low temperature. However, raising the pressure rating for in-store piping would increase the cost of the system. For example, 90 bar piping would require the use of high-pressure copper piping, upgraded evaporator coils, flash tank, valves, suction filters, and low-temperature compressors. Shanmugam pointed out that the Charge Secure system, which saves 70% of the CO2 charge during a lengthy power outage, provides almost the same function as a CO2 system with high-pressure piping, which saves up to 100%, but at a significantly lower cost. Charge Secure is focused on preserving the charge on the liquid side because it is the area where the pressure rises quickly, Shanmugam explained. On the suction side, depending on ambient conditions, a power outage would have to last at least 5 to 7 hours before the pressure increased to the point where the CO2 gas would be released. Thus, increasing the pressure rating for suction piping is only beneficial during very long power outages, he added. Hillphoenix does offer 90-bar liquid line and suction piping for customers who require different levels of protection. It really helps in rural areas where technicians may not be available, and power outages could extend to 12 or more hours. That's where the high-pressure system works very well, said Shanmugam. In terms of return on investment, ChargeSecure offers end users a potentially quick payback on its investment in the event of a power outage, compared to a scenario where no charge maintenance system was in place and there is a significant loss of product, noted Shanmugam. If you lost the charge on the liquid side completely and are unable to start the rack and waiting for the charge replacement, and that causes product loss, then the return on investment can be instant. The extent to which ChargeSecure is used depends on factors like the length of the power outage and ambient conditions. A short power outage may require little or no usage, while an outage in a warm southern climate like Florida may require more usage than one in a cooler one like Connecticut, explained Sabra. How it works. ChargeSecure employs about 1.8 amps, supplied by either a battery-equipped UPS provided by Hillphoenix or a small generator. As ChargeSecure is focused on the liquid side of a transcritical CO2 system, it senses the pressure in the flash tank and activates when that pressure passes a certain threshold. When the pressure increases during a power outage, ChargeSecure minimizes or reduces the pressure, and it is kept under the relief valve pressure so that the charge will not be released from the system, said Shanmugam. It accomplishes this by taking the CO2 gas from the flash tank, compressing it, and then discharging it into the gas cooler. We don't need to run the gas cooler because the mass flow that is taken out of the flash tank is very tiny when compared to your gas cooler volume, said Shanmugam. After the pressure increases in the gas cooler, a bypass solenoid valve expands the gas, releasing it back to the flash tank. The process repeats if necessary to keep the pressure in the flash tank below the release level,